All right, let's get right into it. If you think about the world of fintech as this giant music festival, well, this week's news would absolutely be the headline act. I mean, you've got lineup changes, artists demanding creative control, superstars bringing in fresh talent. It's a full-on battle of the bands. And the prize? Nothing less than the future of finance. And this, right here, this is the theme for our entire explainer today. This idea of owning your sound. It's the strategic thread that connects three of the biggest names in the game. It's all about control, it's about vision, and maybe most importantly, it's about not letting anyone else write your hits for you. So, who's on our stage today? We are putting the spotlight on three major fintech players. You've got Chime, Marqeta, and Coinbase. Now, each one is taking a completely different approach to owning their sound, and we are going to break down exactly what that looks like. Okay, first up, let's talk about Chime. The best way to think about them is as the established artist who's finally decided they're done with a record label. They're ready to build their own studio, produce their own tracks. And believe me, it is a massive power move. And just so we're clear, this isn't some little indie band we're talking about. This is an artist with a huge, dedicated following. We're talking over 14 million members. So any move Chime makes sends ripples to the entire industry. That scale is exactly why this latest decision is such a big deal. So here's the pivot. Before, Chime was basically in a label deal. They were relying on a third-party processor, Galileo, for all their back-end tech. But now, they've shifted to in-house production. They went and built their very own system from the ground up called Chime Core. So, you might be asking, why go through all that trouble? Well, the payoff is huge. By owning its core technology, Chime gets total creative control over its products. It also means much higher profit margins, because they're not paying royalties to a middleman anymore. And crucially, it lets them launch new features and products, like their new rewards card, way faster than before. And this is just the perfect way to think about it. It's literally the fintech version of Taylor Swift re-recording her albums so she can own her own music. Chime is taking back control of its own work, making sure that its future and its sound is entirely in its own hands. Now let's switch gears and move to our next act. Over at Marqeta, the story is, well, a little different. They've got a fantastic sound, but it really seems like they're struggling with some creative differences at the very top. It's like a great band that just can't seem to hold on to its lead singer. You know, Marqeta went public back in 2021 with a ton of hype, but as you can see, the years since have been defined by this revolving door in the C-suite. The recent news of a new permanent CEO is basically an attempt to finally stop the music and bring some much-needed stability to the band. And look, this isn't just some internal band drama. Marqeta is the engine that powers card programs for absolute giants like Block and Uber. So for investors and partners, that kind of constant leadership change creates some serious uncertainty about where the band is headed next. This quote just nails the pressure they're under. It really is a high-stakes performance every single quarter. But instead of Simon Cowell, you've got Wall Street. And they aren't judging stage presence. They're judging EBITDA, which is basically just a measure of a company's core profitability. The big question now is whether the new frontman can deliver a performance that actually impresses those judges. And for our final act, we've got Coinbase. They're taking yet another approach to owning their sound. Instead of building a studio from scratch like Chime, they're acting like a superstar who knows exactly what talent they need, and they're just going out and bringing entire new bands to join them on tour. Their playbook is actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, they identify these small, specialized teams that are experts in one specific area. Step 2, they acquire that talent, bring them in-house. And then step 3, they plug that team directly into their system to just supercharge their product development. It's a very deliberate strategy to buy innovation instead of just building it. But what's the whole point of all this? Well, it's not just about trading Bitcoin anymore. Coinbase is making a really strategic push to take crypto mainstream. By acquiring these teams, they're trying to build products that make crypto useful for everyday stuff, moving it way beyond just being a speculative asset. And this is the perfect analogy, right? To stay on top, a superstar like Beyoncé is constantly bringing in new producers and collaborators to evolve her sound. Coinbase is doing the exact same thing. They know the crypto hits from a few years ago won't be enough to stay relevant, so they're buying the talent they need to write the hits of tomorrow. So after looking at these three very different bands, it really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? What does it actually take to make it to the top of the charts and headline the fintech world? So let's recap. We've seen three totally distinct paths. Chime is building its own infrastructure, basically producing its own masters. Marqeta is focused on stabilizing its leadership. They're trying to find the right frontman. And Coinbase, they're buying talent to expand the whole lineup. But here's the crucial point that ties this all together. It doesn't matter if you build it, hire for it, or buy it. At the end of the day, success in fintech right now is all about taking ownership. It's about controlling your product, your vision, and ultimately your own destiny. And that leaves us with one final thought. As all these bands continue their tours, the real question is, who is truly building a lasting legacy by owning the stage, and who is just a temporary act, simply renting the mic for a little while?